Hello, my name's Kyle, and today we're going to talk about life, death, and dying. If you haven't seen the other videos in the series, I would highly recommend watching it from the beginning, but I will do the best I can to make this as understandable as possible for you. So, with the life that we lead, there are a lot of different ways that you can go about constructing who are we, how did we get here, and where are we going. Because those are considered to be the three most important questions that a person can ask themselves in this life. As a very simple answer, to not get into the dogmas of different religions, there is the concept of karma, which in short basically says that everywhere you go and everything you do is you. So one of the suggestions that's normally given to imagine your karmic relation is that if you are given a task like washing the dishes and the sink is just completely filled with rubbish, there's dishes the whole way up, is to not tell yourself, oh my gosh, I've got all this work to do, but to tell yourself, I am cleaning this dish because I am only able to experience this one moment. All I have to do is clean this one dish. And it's meant to take that type of simple equanimity towards the rest of your life with the view of karma, because one of the things people tend as a whole to overlook is that there is a very big difference, there's not a separation between your time and your life. So, in your life, it typically seems when people turn about 40, 45, they have what's referred to as their midlife crisis. And in their midlife crisis, the biggest takeaway that people experience is that they're not immortal and that they too are going to pass on. And that's when people really start changing jobs, changing hobbies, trying to set up retirement plans or purchase life insurance so that way they can give something to their children or other people when they pass on, or start preparing for their funerals. However, that's more of a macro concept. But when you look at a micro concept, like what you do day to day, you still see people getting on Facebook, spending hours a day watching television because it, quote, kills time. But as we had, just discussed a minute ago, you are what you do. And your life is made up of time. And I get that it's kind of this prison that we feel like we've been trapped inside, where there's all this stuff we want to do, but we have to wait so many hours before we can do it again, or we can get to experience it the way we want it. But with your life, we should be spending it. And I guess I'm preaching at you right now, which I don't mean to be doing. I'm merely offering you a suggestion for a different way to look at things. Because even if you don't take this line of thought, you're still able to reach liberation or, freedom from the things that antagonize you and may cause you pain in your mind. I'm just offering you the quickest roadmap that I have found. So, the evaluation of each minute of your life, treat it as sacredly as you would if you were told you were going to pass on in 15 minutes, is the way that we need to be moving, in a way that's not designed to get you hung up on the back and forth of things and keep you in a setting where you're just trying to kill time. Now, when we pass on, depending on the religion you were raised in, or the dogma you were taught, or the belief structure you have, you may already have concretized ideas about what's happening. But for the most part, there's really kind of two, maybe 2.5 different beliefs as to what happens when we pass on. Predominantly put forward by the Abrahamic religions is this dualistic concept with the transmigration of your soul to take you to a place referred to as heaven or hell, based on the qualities and attributes of how you lived your life. These ideas really existed further back. They were highlighted in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. However, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, as we came to know it in, I believe, 1880, when it first started getting sent around to the Western world, is just a collection of very old funeral rituals and practices that have been around longer than I believe it was written 5,000 years ago, so that have been around longer than 5,000 years. So that concept of transmigration of the soul is very prevalent within this world. Another major take that has become more and more popular, especially in the West, where I live, is of atheism, and really just when you're dead, you're gone and you're in nothingness. And I warn you about taking this stance or that position on your belief in the world, because that detaches you emotionally from the connection that you have to the rest of this world, and can ultimately push you into a solipsistic point of view, which makes life harder, in my opinion, to enjoy. Now, alternatively, and this is where the 2.5 idea comes through, which is reincarnation. Now, reincarnation, I'm going to take the information that I'm presenting from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, also known as the Thonid Bardo. So, upon passing, the body goes through the series of 49 days in what's called the Bardo, which is the in-between, referred to in the Abrahamic religions as purgatory, with some slight nuance differences. So one of the first things is, according to the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the people who have passed on, first of all, don't know they have passed on. And there's 7 different stages while they're there. So effectively what happens is they spend a week in each chakra of the body, and there's different lights that radiate that they see and experience. And depending on their levels of attachment, it will come back and ultimately decide where the soul transmigrates to next. Now, in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the concepts of heaven and hell exist just the same as the Abrahamic religions do. The difference here is that in the Buddhist / Hindu / Jainist point of view is that heaven and hell come to an end. I believe that it's 100,000 years your soul is meant to live there. And after that, it once again picks up and keeps going on to the next life. Because ultimately the belief is that all of the souls, you can have individual ones that track where each one goes next, but the life that the soul lives is kind of like different scenes in a movie, and the series of souls that you have with reincarnation is kind of like the script that leads you through everything, but the entire everything is just made up of one experiencer. And that's one of the points Krishna consciousness has as their fundamental core, is that the Godhead, the God, the works, the universe, everything you see, even the things that don't exist, like ocularly, like dark matter, are encompassed in that. It's also referred to as Brahma. And ultimately, not you as in the sense of who you are as an ego, but you as in the life force behind you, the prana, gets cycled through everything and experiences all of it. Now, depending on where you are in the reincarnation cycle does give you a slight advantage. So Earth is kind of planned or seen as this middle plane that exists. Below Earth is the hellish worlds, very similar to the Abrahamic belief of hell, where it's designed to torture you, go from extreme hot to extreme cold, you get poked and prodded, etc., etc. And above Earth is the heavenly planes with things called devas, or angels, and the gods that exist up there. Now, when it comes to reincarnation, at the end of your life, the devas are so happy that they cannot be unattached from everything, so they will end up continuing to recycle back. And the people living in the hellish worlds, I believe it's pretas, they are too miserable and cannot be unattached at the end of their life and keep moving. Animals are considered to not have the intellectual wherewithal to be able to be unattached and to drive themselves to a specific place in reincarnation. And human beings exist in the middle ground, where depending on how you worked, you can either create so much good karma that you reincarnate in a better position, or you create so much bad karma you reincarnate in a lower setting. However, if you have equally as much good karma as bad karma, or it's null, it adds up to 0, you're in a position then where you can dissolve into everything and you can stop the reincarnation cycle. And this is considered to be one of the greatest achievements, or the greatest achievement really, with true liberation between the reincarnation cycle. Now, that being said, this true unattachment would go beyond the liberation you would have from a physical body, and we will cover this in future videos ad nauseum. But for the moment, just understand that if you live your life completely open and caring to everyone, and you're not living it in a way that's all about me, and it's all about doing things for other people, there is this belief in the yogic system called bhakti yoga, where if you do everything that you do for the rest of this world, and it's down to not just acting with other people, but when you drink, instead of saying, I'm drinking for my thirst, you would say, I am drinking so the universe can experience this and can continue on living inside of me to fulfill the needs of atomic structures. Take your drink. An action like that does not create karma, because it is not designed to feed yourself. It's designed to feed the works. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or directions you'd like me to go with this series in the comment section below. If you have anyone that gets into this type of conversation, please show this channel to them, get them to subscribe, get the word out, just so that way we can have a more collective and involved conversation. I would love to respond to you with whatever questions you have about my content in the comment section, so don't be afraid to reach out. Thank you so much for watching. I love you.